Alright, hello everyone, welcome back to my Let's Play of Shrift. We're in the midst of climbing the ranks in card battles. So while we have a day, let's go to the gym and then we will go buy some cards, just to give us more options. Just get 5 of each. Sir? Thank you for always buying those card packs. If you're interested, I could tell you about a place that you can buy cards from. I gotta keep my voice down since it's a nurse store. I've heard that the stall selling accessories in the shopping center will sell you cards if you ask about them. I've also heard they sell special expensive cards. I recommend going check it out. Oh? Alright, nice tip. You want something? Accessories, right? Is that place only open at night? Yeah, it's gotta be in the shopping center here. But at night, huh? These are just jewels. There's no place else here. It's gotta be at night. Anyway, let's see what cards we get. I guess we'll be coming here tomorrow. Mio, nice. You're interested in card packs? That's great. I was just wondering how I was going to offload some. Thing is, despite how popular these cards are, it's pretty hard to sell to the main demographic of kids when operating at night. The main demographic of kids? Lady, there's porn on these cards! Which is why I exclusively brought up some holo card packs for any adults who are into the game. Please go on and take a look. Ooh, 10 holographic character cards. One. Can't afford any else. The food truck. All right. Hopefully we get good stuff. Yummy Hollow! There we go. That's where it's at. Alright. That we can go and finish the card battles. Alright. To the church. Rank C. Deck size 4, cost limit 20. Alright. Let us battle. Oh, C rank still being worked on. Please wait warmly. Oh, come on now. Here was all prepared for C rank. And it ain't ready yet. Gosh darn it. Alright. 25 more trust. Alright, the trust is at 100. Now let's go get the other girl. Hopefully we have just enough to get her to 100. Charvadis. Better. Normal squeezing. Alright. That get you up to 100? It did. Excellent. Chat. So, a continuation of our tea time. Ask about anything you like. About Hakubo and Reimei. I know it's probably rude to ask this so right from out of the gate, but are you two doll demons? I mean, you have the power to turn your partners into dolls. Your head's bobbed a lot when you were chasing me, but then I can't see any dull joints or anything. You really pay attention, huh? Oh, it's true we're not good at moving around. We are actual flesh and blood demons. To be more precise, we're former humans who decide to transform into demons. We're referred to as daemons in the demon realm. And as for the ability to transfer others into dolls, to put it in a way you'd understand, is kind of a pre-death necromancy. Huh? Former humans? Daemons? And you're necromancers too? Just what era are you two from, anyway? You don't remember. Or rather, we erased all unnecessary memories when we transformed into daemons. I get the feeling there were witch hunts and something about perpetual youth, but we moved from place to place around that time. Necromancers control the spirits of the dead, and the nature of such work creates a lot of enemies. They tend to consider staying too long in one place. Among all those concerns was also the fact that we had lost our fascination with the dead. In all the experiments, requests, and personal uses, we felt a sense of emptiness every time we manipulated the dead, especially when we were tasked with resurrecting someone's mind. No matter how clean the resurrection, the moment we released the magic, they would instantly collapse. Though I suppose you could say that was because such magic violated natural laws. Good. We wanted to retain their form, something that could maintain itself through human will, rather than something that could easily collapse with a single thought. Which is why we add a unique twist to the necromancy rituals we mastered. The power to turn others into dolls? This kind of blows my original thinking on the matter out of the water, so I'm not sure I'm following entirely, but is changing someone into a doll really so simple? Of course not. It actually took us more than 200 years to fully master this ability. At some point, we realized we wouldn't be able to complete our work during our lifetimes. That's when we decided to use our spirit transformation magic on ourselves. Well, what? So that means... That's right. We voluntarily use forbidden magic to kill and then reanimate our own bodies. Because our bodies deviate from the natural order, we can do things like stopping and reversing our metabolism that let us try turning our bodies into that of young girls. Try being the operative word. The thing is, I made a mistake mixing one of the medicines for the ritual, and it made our breasts grow progressively bigger. In a panic, I managed to mix something to halt the growth, but by the time they'd already grown to the size you see before you now. We'd planned on living under the radar, but our breasts would draw attention every time we went into town. My goodness, are these breasts really that unusual? Yes, they are. Nowadays, we can get everything through mail order, so there's no problems, but we had lots of close calls back in the day. We've had to turn a number of people into dolls to keep them quiet. In hindsight, it's not actually been so bad, since it allowed us to get to know people from Planet Boobs like you, Richard. So, these bodies are biologically dead, but our blood still flows and our metabolism is still active, though we don't poop since bodily waste gets converted into magic. To make it easier to understand, while you move your body using your brain, we move our bodies through a kind of possession. That's why when we move around in a hurry, the parts we're not concentrating on have a lagging response. They can look rather disjointed and unnerving. While the parts we are concentrating on moves with a speed and grace that would put any automated doll to shame, particularly when we move our chest. So you should be a good boy and let us give you a Pizarro without running away. That way you won't see us making any chopping movements. Huh? Was this what you were originally talking about? We just openly and honestly answered since you asked. But just knowing that we're not dolls ruin your impression of us? This must be hard to comprehend, but we're demons. And we're both dead and also not. We don't rot or harm others like zombies. Please don't hate us, Richard-chan. Alright, chat. Why they came to this town. Oh yeah, there was something in the case files I read that caught my attention. The owner of the land that Shizetsu sits on is Sumeragi, right? I almost don't want to ask, but you two wouldn't happen to know a certain Dr. Yui, would you? Oh my, you know Yui? She was the one who encouraged us to move here and offered the use of that building for free. In exchange, she asked us to be in charge of designing the external casing of her robots. I believe one of them was called Machina. Ah, Machina, don't hurt me. I'm still upset over that. What? You two were the ones who designed Machina's appearance? But it looks so futuristic! How rude. We were told to make her design as functional as possible, so we simply made her look non-human. If it were up to us, we would have had her in knee-high socks and lots of frills, but Yui said those would be unnecessary. We were designers in name only. All we did was arrange the parts and add circuitry provided to us. Despite that, we wanted to make her look cute. That reminds me of Machina herself giving me a similar explanation of her appearance. So he really did put in a lot of work. I still find it surprising that you two know Yui. How on earth did you first meet? I think it was around the time we had just become demons. At that time, Yui was desperate to acquire all knowledge from the human realm. And having heard about us from somewhere, she came to us wanting to learn about our spirit magic. Naturally, that included the forbidden arts we just employed. We weren't inclined to just tell her, of course. We were naturally wary of teaching anyone about dangerous magic that can manipulate life and death, let alone a demon. But she gradually picked up the rituals and their uses from being around us, and after about 50 years she completely mastered them. Not just that, but she went to leave us. She even made a promise that she'd never use that magic in an evil way. I was annoyed that she basically stolen our knowledge from us, but she's kept her word and hasn't done anything bad with it, and that's why we keep in touch. Is Yui doing well, Richard-chan? She's not pushing herself too hard with all-nighters doing research. She might be a demon, but it does worry me. She has an obsession with discovery. Isn't she worried about her big sister? Yui's big sister? Huh? What do you mean? This is the first time I'm hearing about her having a sister. I knew she wouldn't have mentioned it. I didn't think she would have talked about it with a human. Yui's technological prowess is insane, but that's a result of studying like crazy for a few hundred years. She didn't start out being a genius, just like Promestein, huh? The reason for her drive, or rather obsession with attaining all knowledge, is because of her sister. We don't know the details, but apparently her sister is quite the excellent specimen of a Tengu, widely praised among her kind. They say Yui's pride in and idolizing her sister is what drove her to approach humans to acquire their knowledge. But one day, it was decided that a human girl Yui was friends with would be sacrificed as part of a certain ceremony. Naturally, Yui apparently tried to convince the villagers that using living sacrifices is an evil practice, but her sister pushed for the ceremony to proceed. Huh? Why? Why would she push her for her sister's friend to be sacrificed? Where there is a ceremony requiring a living sacrifice, there is always an evil god who desires such. Her sister probably wanted to do research into an entity like that. And Yui is unusual among the Tengu, as they typically aren't on good terms with humans. Most would have no problem sacrificing one if it were in their interest. To her sister, humans exist simply to be the cornerstone from which to expand their knowledge, and that attitude did not change even towards ones Yui had a deep friendship with. Oh no. Yui desperately tried to stop her sister, but she was no match for her. Not in power, not in knowledge, not in technology, not in anything. So she swore an oath to her dead friend that she would try to amass enough power and knowledge to be able to stop her sister. Today, her sister is supposedly very busy in the demon realm acquiring knowledge, but no one actually knows for sure. Ever since then, Yu's taken a callous, distant attitude to the humans she's involved herself with. Callous, but not cruel, and that's because the whole basis of her thirst for research is ultimately to benefit humanity. Should she ever start going down the wrong path, it's probably a human like you who'd be best placed to stop her. That's a lot of responsibility you're putting on me. Might you even be able to stop her? Those rattles. This has been on my mind for a while. What's with those rattle things you have? I can tell they're not just toys, since they do stuff like advance my transformation into a doll and instantly purify that Valak spirit. Foo-foo-foo, a rattle, huh? I like that name. It makes it sound like they're a toy to suit the baby. Hey Remy, how about we call them rattles from now on? Absolutely not. They're not shaking around, they're spun. Richard, as a priest, you must know what a mani wheel is. The things we have work on the same principle as those. We use them in Shizetsu for purification and to calm the thoughts of our dolls, among other things. A mani wheel? You mean those ritual implements inscribed with mantras said to be used by Buddhist monks in Tibet? They have scriptures and sutras engraved all over the surface. And you can accumulate virtue just by chanting the sutras from a single revolution of the wheel. Huh? I've not heard of those before. So you get virtue from a little spin? That's quite a crafty ritual implement. I know they come in hand-sized versions from the usual large-sized ones, but are the ones you two have of your own creation? Yes, that's right. But rather than sutras, we've engraved necromancy rituals from most to least important. If we spin it while praying, the entire rituals can be communicated as sound. The voice is just another kind of sound vibrating in the air after all. It's not like we can't control the dolls about those things, but it's a lot easier having to draw magic circles on the ground. Naturally, it's pointless for anyone other than us to use them. They first activate through our prayer to fire off the ritual. Using them to purify is only last resort. If possible, it's best if they can cleanly forget everything, including their suffering. That's right. You know that Valak wasn't actually a demon, but a collection of thoughts that had convinced itself it was a demon. We've been tinkering with that automata doll for a long time, despite not being familiar with that kind of work, so it had taken advantage of that fact. Collection of thoughts that convinced itself it was a demon? What are you talking about? You've been to countless dungeons, right? So you must know about wandering spirits. You could say the thoughts wandering around the Shizetsu are one step away from becoming wandering spirits. There's a risk of them managing to physically materialize somehow. But that being Valak, they're nothing more than a sorrowful collection of thoughts that learn magic to kill people using dolls as a medium. Unlike human souls, when thoughts born from humans are purified, they disappear entirely. There's no reincarnation or heaven for them. That's why we use a method to make them forget, so there at least won't be a single regret left in them. I don't know for sure, but I think Valak will appear in Shizetsu again to go after you, just like it said it would. No matter how many we purify, there's no end to thoughts like that one. Its resentments and regrets are too strong, and it eventually reforms as a new copy. Richard, you should purify it the next time it turns up. That's your job, anyway, isn't it? Huh?